I've got this light fixture, and it's a nice light fixture, but it's in my master bedroom, and I want to replace it with a fan. What I'm going to cover in this video is specifically how to know when the box in the ceiling is capable of supporting a fan. That's what we're going to talk about coming up. Welcome to HandyDadTV. I'm Chris Heider, your virtual dad in the cloud, and today I'm going to investigate a couple of ceiling boxes in my house to see which ones are capable of supporting a fan. It's not a trivial thing. You don't want to just hang a fan on a box that's intended for a regular light fixture because fans are heavier and they've got moving parts that could really cause injury if they fall.
This is an actual but extreme example of a fan that was not installed properly and it fell out of the ceiling. This was sent to me by one of my fans, and you can see it's just hanging by the wire here. This is a really dangerous situation. It wasn't installed properly. It wasn't put into a ceiling box at all. It was just screwed into the sheetrock with anchors, and of course it came loose because you think about it, the fan's got moving parts and vibration, and that's a dangerous situation.
Let's take a closer look at this box. All right, my first indication that this box is probably meant for a fan is that I looked at the electrical, it's got 3 wires here, black, red, white, and of course a ground. That's the bare copper one. But the fact that there's a black and a red indicates to me that there's probably 2 switches on the wall that control these things, or the black one is hot all the time. And what I'm going to do is this is a voltage tester, and it will make sure that the circuits are dead. So those are both dead. Now this one is called a non-contact voltage tester, but for years, I used one like this. Now to use this one, you just have to take the wire nuts off and just very carefully cross the wires and see if this little light lights up. Either way, you got to make sure what the voltage is, if it's on or off, and how it's wired. So in this case, I can see the light was wired by whoever, the electrician or the previous homeowner. It's got the white is connected here, and it's got the other lead is connected to the red. The black is not used at all right now. So let's take a look at the wall switch. Now over here, I've got one switch that I know works. This works an outlet on the other side of the room. This switch here turns on that light, so that's the red lead. This switch doesn't do anything, so I suspect this one is the black lead. So I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to check the voltage on the black. So the black definitely has voltage. The red one does not, the white one does not, but the black is definitely hot. Okay, what that tells me is that this is likely intended, or at least it was wired for a ceiling fan. Why else would you have 2 switches controlling one box? So that's my first indication. And now I'm going to take the light down. Of course, I'm going to turn the power off first. All right, now that the light is out of the way and the wires are pushed out of the way, you can get a better look at the box, and you can see this is not an ordinary ceiling box. There's just the wires come in on the side here, and the connections, these are the slots here. Instead of holes for screws, they're actually slots. And that leads me to one other thing that I could tell this is meant for a fan is because whoever installed it before used wood screws. So if these are wood screws, that means that above these slots, that's wood. So there's actually one of the joists, the ceiling joists, are running like this across the ceiling. And so you're screwing the fan directly into the wood, which is really strong. That's the strongest way to do it. And right now, this is being held in by just this one screw right here. But this kind of a box, they have them in Home Depot and Lowe's and everything. They look like this. And they're kind of strange looking, but that's all it takes. And what you're doing is you're attaching the fan directly into the wood. And so that's one thing you can tell, is that this box is solid. There is no movement whatsoever on it because it's attached right to the wood.
I happened to find one of these boxes at Home Depot. They're really inexpensive, but you can get a better look at it. You can see that the wires come in from the bottom and they're just pushed into those slots. And that's exactly how it works. It just sits right against the joist.
So this is probably the best case scenario, and I can tell this is absolutely meant for a ceiling fan, so I can go ahead and wire it. In fact, I can wire it with those two switches, one being the light and the other one turning the fan on and off. So that's what I'm gonna do. But I do have another situation that I wanna show you. All right, let's take a closer look at this one. So there's 3 wires here, which I suspect, one of them at least, goes with one of those switches over there. It doesn't work anything, so we suspect this is probably what it's for. So 3 wires, it's just a plastic box, and if you pull on it, you can see the box is not tight. I mean, it's tight, don't get me wrong, it's not gonna fall, but it's not attached to wood. That's not really a ceiling fan support box. So I wouldn't put a fan there.
Now again, at Home Depot, I happened to find a couple of these ceiling boxes. You can see this one clearly says that it is suitable for up to 50 pounds, but it's for light fixtures only. And this one's a little bit heavier duty, but still only says it supports a 50-pound light fixture. If you want to put a ceiling fan in between joists, you can use a fan support box like this, which has a maximum weight of 70 pounds, and that's all metal. So that's what it's made for. Now, if you're trying to install a fan after the fact where you're just going to cut a hole in the ceiling and you want to put the box up there, this is the kind of support you would use. This one is made for what they call it a remodel or an old work box. Again, supports 70-pound fans. It's all metal, and you're actually going to see me use this on an upcoming episode of The Living Flip, so be sure you subscribe to that. Now, one more option before I leave Home Depot. This is called a pancake box. It is all metal. It's meant to be screwed into studs, and you can use it for lighting. I've also seen them used for fans. It doesn't say that it's rated for fans, but I've seen them used for fans, and it's a box that as long as it's attached to wood, it is nice and solid.
I think it's the electrical part that freaks out most people about putting in a fan. So I'm going to go through this real slow. First of all, the bare copper wire is the ground, also known as earth, depending upon where you are in the world. The green wires always get attached to that. Green is kind of universal for ground. Now on the other side, these are the 3 wires that were coming from the switches, right? The white is the common. So that one's always going to get the white coming from the fan. The black one is usually hot all the time. And so I would connect the black wire from the fan to that black wire. It's just the blue wire is the one for the light. And that only happens if your fan has a light kit. Now what I would do is I would just connect the blue wire to the red wire and everything would be fine. The 2 switches on the wall would control the light and the fan independently. And then I wouldn't need to use the pull chains on the fan. But I'm gonna have a remote control here, so that makes it a little bit more complicated. And I've done a video on that, and I'll link it below. But that video shows how to install a remote control. So it's gonna sit up in here. It's an electronic box. It's gonna sit up in here and has all the wires connected to it. And I'll show you when it's done, but I'm not gonna go into it in detail here. All right, it might be a little bit hard to see, but the black thing in the middle is the remote control receiver. And the white is connected to the white, and the black is connected to the black, and the greens are connected to the ground. And on the other side, you can see, whoa, wait a minute, the blue one is connected to the red wire. How come it's not connected to the remote? Well, that's so that we can have the switch on the wall will control the light. We didn't want to control that with the remote, so we're just using the remote to control the motor speed of the fan. And that's it. So hopefully that's straightforward. If it's not, just leave me a comment with a question and I'll get back to you. And this, of course, I hate to say it, but this is for US wiring. So it's different in other parts of the world, and I do get a lot of people that watch videos of mine from other parts of the world. So sorry if I can't answer everybody's questions, but that's the story with this one. This is US wiring.
I just wanted to take a moment and show you the finished product. This fan we got from Overstock.com. It is from a brand called Parrot Uncle, and I would not recommend it for two reasons. Number one, it was a pain in the neck to install, and number two, it hums a little bit, and which is really not the best thing for a bedroom. So I like a fan that's absolutely silent, but we went with this one because it was so pretty. Thanks for watching.
Welcome home.
Be sure to subscribe and watch our new series, The Living Flip. Ooh.
And that has 1.25 inches.
It's the little one. That's the little